You'll co-sign your brother's loan. That's what good sisters do. My father said it like he was stating a universal truth. Like refusing to risk my financial future for my irresponsible brother was a moral failing only a bad person would commit. He sat across from me at his kitchen table, Derrick smirking beside him. Both of them waiting for me to fall in line like I always had. But I was 31 years old and I'd spent my entire life cleaning up Derrick's messes. This time I said no. And that single word cost me my family. 3 months later, when the consequences of their choices came crashing down, that same family came crawling back. What I said to them then is something I'll never regret. Before I tell you what happened when the bank came calling, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from right now? And when you hear how my family treated me, tell me honestly, have you ever been punished for being the responsible one? My name is Tessa. I'm 31 years old and I've spent my entire life being my family's safety net while my brother was their favorite project. Let me paint you a picture of the Mercer family of suburban Detroit. Derrick is 2 years older than me, and from the moment I was born my role was clear. I existed to support him. When we were kids, I did his homework so he could go to baseball practice. When we were teenagers, I covered for him when he snuck out, lied about where he'd been, took the blame when something got broken. When we were adults, I lent him money I never saw again, talked employers into giving him another chance, convinced landlords not to evict him. My parents, especially my father, enabled every failure. Derrick wasn't irresponsible. He was finding himself. He didn't have a work ethic problem. He just hadn't found the right opportunity. He wasn't a grown man still being bailed out by his family. He was just going through a rough patch that had somehow lasted 15 years. Meanwhile, I worked 2 jobs through college, graduated with honors, and built a successful career in pharmaceutical sales. I owned a condo. I had savings. I had a credit score in the 800s, earned through years of careful planning and responsible decisions. That credit score was exactly why they wanted me. Derrick's latest scheme was a food truck. After 33 years of failing at everything, construction, real estate, cryptocurrency, day trading, he decided what he really wanted was to sell gourmet tacos. He needed $50,000 to buy the truck and equipment. And no bank would lend to him directly. His credit was destroyed from years of defaulted loans, unpaid bills, and a bankruptcy that was supposed to be a fresh start, but changed nothing. He needed a cosigner. Someone with perfect credit. Someone legally responsible for him when not if he failed to pay. Enter me. The family meeting was arranged under the pretense of Sunday dinner. I showed up expecting pot roast and small talk and instead got an ambush. Derrick had his business plan, which was a single page of bullet points. My mother had hopeful eyes already counting imaginary tacos. And my father had his ultimatum. This is Derrick's big chance, Dad said after the presentation, such as it was. He just needs someone to believe in him. That's where you come in. You want me to co-sign a $50,000 loan? I asked. That's what good sisters do. I looked at Derrick, who was staring at his phone like this conversation bored him. I looked at my mother, who wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at my father, already smiling because he was so certain I'd say yes. No. The smile vanished. What? No, I'm not co-signing Derrick's loan, I said, keeping my voice steady even though my heart pounded. He's never paid back a single loan in his life. He's never kept a job for more than 6 months. He has a bankruptcy on his record. If I co-sign this, I'll end up paying $50,000 for a food truck I'll never see. Derrick finally looked up. Wow. Thanks for the vote of confidence. It's not about confidence. It's about your track record. You've borrowed money from me 6 times in the last 10 years. You've paid back exactly 0. I pulled out my phone. I have records. Would you like me to read them? That's not fair, he muttered. What's not fair, I said, is asking me to risk my financial future on someone who has never demonstrated an ability to follow through on anything. I stood up. I love you, Derrick, but I don't trust you with money. I'm sorry. The answer is no. My father's face went red. Sit down, Tessa. We're not done here. Yes. We are. I grabbed my purse. I came for dinner, not for a shakedown. If you walk out that door without agreeing to help your brother, don't bother coming back, Dad said coldly. I mean it. You're either part of this family or you're not. I looked at my mother, waiting for her to say something. She stared at the table. I looked at Derrick, smirking again, confident I'd cave rather than lose my family. I looked at my father, who had just offered me a choice. My credit or my family. My future or their approval. Then I guess I'm not part of this family, I said. And I walked out. I didn't look back. The weeks that followed were brutal. My mother called crying, begging me to reconsider, but she wouldn't stand up to my father. Derrick sent angry texts calling me selfish. My father didn't contact me at all. His silence a punishment meant to break me. I blocked them and focused on my life. My job, my friends, and the future I was building without a family that only valued me when I was useful. 3 months later I got a text from an unknown number. "Tessa, please call me. It's urgent. Dad." I almost deleted it. Almost. But curiosity got the better of me, so I called. "Tessa, thank God." My father's voice was ragged, stripped of its usual authority. "I need your help." "What happened?" "It's Derrick's loan. The food truck. He defaulted. He never even made the first payment." His voice shook. "The bank is coming after me for the full amount, plus fees and interest. They're talking about garnishing my wages, putting a lien on the house." I sat down slowly, processing the words. "You co-signed the loan?" "Someone had to. You wouldn't. So I stepped up. I believed in my son." His voice cracked. "But the truck broke down 2 weeks after he bought it. He sold it for parts and spent the money. He never even tried to make it work." Pause. "Tessa. He just took the cash and disappeared." I closed my eyes. $50,000. Plus interest. Plus penalties. My father, 62 years old, 5 years from retirement, was now responsible for Derrick's debt. The house he'd lived in for 30 years was at risk. "I'm sorry that happened to you, Dad. I need you to help me pay it off. I can't do this alone. Your mother and we don't have that kind of savings. But you." "Let me stop you there." My voice was calm, but my blood was boiling. "You disowned me because I wouldn't put my name on that loan. You said I wasn't part of the family. You chose Derrick over me because I dared to say no to something I knew would fail." I was upset. "I didn't mean." "You meant every word. And now you're calling because I was right. Derrick took the money and ran, exactly like I predicted. And you want me to bail you out of a decision you made after throwing me away? Please, Tessa. We could lose the house. That's what good fathers risk when they enable their sons. Right, Dad?" I let the silence stretch. I spent my whole life being responsible while Derrick got chances and excuses. I spent my whole life being the family ATM while he was the family favorite. And when I finally said no, you cut me off like I was nothing. I made a mistake. Yes. You did. Several of them. You enabled Derrick for 33 years. You disowned the responsible child for refusing to fund the irresponsible one. And you co-signed a loan for someone who has never followed through on anything. I took a breath. "I'm not paying for your mistakes. Or Derrick's. Find another way." "Good sisters help their families," he said weakly. "Good brothers pay their debts," I replied. A beat. "And good fathers don't disown their daughters for being right." I paused. "Call Derrick. He's the one who owes you money." And I hung up. The aftermath was exactly what I expected. My father called multiple times. My mother left voicemails alternating between guilt trips and tearful pleas. Derrick resurfaced long enough to insist he was going through something and couldn't be held responsible for his actions. I responded to none of them. My parents had to refinance their house to pay off the loan. They'll be making payments well into their 70s. Retirement? Definitely delayed. The stress has aged them both. When I saw my mother 6 months later at my cousin's wedding, she looked 10 years older. She tried to talk to me, apologize, explain. I listened politely and told her I appreciated her words. But I wasn't ready to rebuild a relationship with people who only valued me when they needed something. "I always valued you," she whispered. "You had a chance to show that," I said. "When Dad disowned me, you sat there and said nothing." I squeezed her hand gently. "I don't hate you, Mom. But I don't trust you either. And I'm not going to pretend everything's okay when it isn't." Derrick never apologized. Of course he didn't. He's already moved on to his next scheme. Something about dropshipping or NFTs or whatever failed entrepreneurs cling to these days. He'll find another mark. Another family member to drain. Another believer to exploit. But it won't be me. My father and I don't speak. I've made peace with that. He chose Derrick, over and over, for 31 years. When I finally stopped participating in that dynamic, he punished me for it. And when his choice blew up in his face, he expected me to fix it anyway. Some people never learn. Some parents never see the damage they've done. And some daughters have to save themselves because no one else will. I'm thriving now. My career is better than ever. I've built a chosen family who actually appreciates me. I've started therapy to unpack 31 years of being second best, and it's working. I'm learning to value myself the way my parents never could. The $50,000 I didn't co-sign for? It's still in my savings account, earning interest, building a future that's mine alone. If you're watching this and you've ever been the responsible one punished for saying no, I want you to know something. Your boundaries are not cruelty. Your self-protection is not selfishness. Your refusal to enable dysfunction is not betrayal. When family treats you like an ATM, you have every right to close the account. When they demand you sacrifice your future for someone who has never sacrificed anything, you can say no. And when they try to guilt you for being right, let them learn what your absence costs. If this story spoke to you, drop a comment below, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.